Hello and welcome to biology class. I am Shipra from ADARSH MANDIR SHANKAR PEETH Mount Abu for class 11th. Continue our topic respiration in plants. We will already discussed about the glycolysis, the first step of aerobic respiration. Now in the anaerobic respiration, which is also known as the fermentation, what happens in this? Glycolysis is possible. So by the glycolysis process in the cytoplasm, glucose is converted into 3-PGL, then 3-PGL converted to 3-PGA and PEP, and at last, after the 10 steps, these one molecule of glucose is converted into 2 molecules of pyruvic acids. So the number of carbon in the glucose are 6 and number of carbon in pyruvic acid are 3. So the 2 molecules of pyruvic acids are produced in the process of glycolysis in the cytoplasm, and only 2 ATP net gain is possible and 2 molecules of NADH2 are formed, but NADH2 gives the energy, gives the ATP in the PTA cycle. Now what happens during the anaerobic respiration? When the oxygen is not available, then in the muscles, in our muscles, this pyruvic acid is converted to the lactic acid, and for this process the lactate dehydrogenase enzyme is worked and NAD molecule is converted to NADH2, means NAD molecule is reduced. And the second one is in the plant products, what happens? These pyruvic acid is converted to ethanol plus carbon dioxide is also released with the help of decarboxylase alcohol dehydrogenase enzyme, and during this one NAD molecule is reduced and converted into NADH2. Okay. Now we come to the aerobic respiration. In the aerobic respiration, after glycolysis, when oxygen is available, then Krebs cycle is continued. But pyruvic acid cannot enter in this form into the Krebs cycle. So first pyruvic acid is converted into acetyl coenzyme. This is the first step. What is acetyl coenzyme? Acetyl coenzyme is the connecting link between the glycolysis and Krebs cycle. So first pyruvic acids, these are react with the coenzyme A and NAD in the presence of magnesium ion and pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme. Pyruvic acid is converted to the 2-acetyl coenzyme. It is a 2-carbon compound and pyruvic acid is a 3-carbon compound. So the carbon dioxide is also released during it and NADH2 molecule is formed. This is the first step, and these acetyl coenzyme, now it can enter into the Krebs cycle, and Krebs cycle happens in the matrix of mitochondria. Matrix means the liquid present inside the mitochondria. It contains different enzymes which are necessary for the Krebs cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle. Okay. So first acetyl coenzyme, it enters into the matrix of mitochondria, and in the matrix of mitochondria oxaloacetic acid is present. Oxaloacetic acid is a 4-carbon compound and acetyl coenzyme is a 2-carbon compound. So they combines and form citric acid. Citric acid is a 6-carbon compound. Then in the next step, citric acid converted into alpha-ketogluteric acid. Alpha-ketogluteric acid is a 5-carbon compound. So during this process, during this conversion from citric acid to alpha-ketogluteric acid, 1 carbon dioxide molecule is released and also 1 NADH2 is formed. Clear? Now in the next step, alpha-ketogluteric acid is converted into succinic acid. Alpha-ketogluteric acid is a 5-carbon compound and succinic acid is a 4-carbon compound. So again, 1 molecule of carbon dioxide is released and during it 1 NADH2 molecule is formed and 1 GTP molecule is formed. Then the next step is conversion of succinic acid into malic acid. Succinic acid and malic acid both are 4-carbon compound. So here is a 1 molecule of FADH2 is formed. The next step is conversion of malic acid into oxaloacetic acid. Both are the 4 carbon compound, and during this step one NADH2 is formed. So these are the energy forms. And what are the energy forms? NADH2, GTP, FADH2. So from one pyruvic acid, one acetyl coenzyme is formed, and from one glucose, 2 pyruvic acids are formed. So from the one molecule of glucose, 2 acetyl coenzyme are formed, and they form different energy forms. How many NADH2 are formed? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So NADH2, they are converted into the ATP form. They are converted, one molecule is converted into 3 ATP by the help of ETS, electron transport system. And electron transport system is present on the inner membrane of mitochondria. And inner membrane of mitochondria, these are known as the cristae, and these cristae contain the F1 particle, orphan-like particles, and ETS, due to this ETS cycle, these all energy forms are converted to the ATP. So how many NADH2 are formed? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it forms 12 ATP energy by NADH2. And one FADH2 is formed. FADH2, it converts into 2 ATP molecules, and one GTP is also formed. So one GTP is converted to the 1 ATP. So from the one acetyl coenzyme, from one pyruvic acid, how many energy is formed in the Krebs cycle? 12 plus 1 plus 2, that is 15 ATP from one pyruvic acid. And here is the 2 pyruvic acid. So total 30 ATP are formed in the Krebs cycle, but it is converted in the ATP form with the help of ETS. And by the complete oxidation of glucose, one molecule of glucose, total 38 ATP energies are produced by the glycolysis and Krebs cycle, and in the anaerobic respiration only 2 ATP molecules are formed. Now what are the food materials? Food materials contains fat, carbohydrate and proteins mainly, and also vitamins and minerals, but these fat, carbohydrate and proteins they can convert after digestion proteins into amino acids, carbohydrate into glucose, fats into fatty acid and glycerol. And these monomers, these simplest form of the food, they can convert into the ATP molecules. They can convert into ATP. So how? From the carbohydrate by the glycolysis and Krebs cycle, and by fat. Fatty acid and glycerol are directly converted into the acetyl coenzyme. Like this, amino acids are directly converted into the pyruvic acid. Ultimately, they are converted into ATP molecules. Now, what is the respiratory quotient? The last point, that is respiratory quotient is the volume of carbon dioxide evolved upon volume of oxygen consumed. That means this is the ratio of carbon dioxide and oxygen in any case of oxidation. So it is all about the respiration in plants. Thank you.